What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode here on the YouTube channel. Guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All right. And I really appreciate you brothers being here. And you guys know who this guy is. He's not on YouTube so much anymore because he's busy being a really beautiful, great restaurant in the DR just opened. He shows me all the B-roll every day, so there's probably
I know, right?
in the background right now. And I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead, brother. Let him know who you are.
Thanks, O'Shea, for sharing your platform with me, boss. It's funny because we're friends in real life, so we gotta act like we gotta act like all professional and stuff. But yeah, for you guys that are watching for the first time and you don't know who I am, my name is Dean Cole, and I own Dean Cole Coaching, which is a consulting firm, and we specialize in working capital, alternative finance, and business credit development. And as a business coach and a life coach, I've used YouTube to do business coaching and life coaching. But since I moved to the Dominican Republic, so many opportunities have presented itself that over here in the DR, I've opened a call center. And like O'Shea said, I've opened a restaurant and lounge, and now it's the #1 restaurant and lounge in Puerto Plata. And so, yeah, he's actually, like he said, he sees the journey because I send him stuff all the time. So he's seen the journey over the last few months.
My videos is storage is full because of your goddamn videos every day. So I'm so glad to see, the it looks very beautiful, man. For the brothers out there, because you were doing really good in the States. You had a consulting business was doing really good. You were in, I believe you were in New Orleans before, and you were in Atlanta. Or you were in New Orleans and then Atlanta?
Yep, I was in, when you and I became friends, I was in New Orleans. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. That's why the name of my restaurant is called Atlanta Lights.
Right. Okay.
So, but yeah, when we became friends, I was in New Orleans. Then I moved back to Atlanta right before I decided to move to the Dominican Republic.
So, let me ask you this. You're doing really good in Atlanta. Atlanta's a big time city. A lot of professional African-American professionals like yourself. You're got on a younger spectrum. So a lot of opportunities in Atlanta. What drew you to saying, all right, let me get out of Atlanta and go to the North Coast, DR?
To be 100% honest with you, I've never talked about this on YouTube before. I talk about it in my mentorship programs where I mentor people one-on-one, and I've talked about it, but I never talked about it publicly. To be honest, boss, I was facing depression. I was depressed. So even though I had a $750,000 house, I had a BMW on 24s, like you said, business doing extremely well, YouTube channel arching doing extremely well, you know what I'm saying, being accepted into the manosphere, you did. So even though all of that happened, I went through a depression because I was working very, very hard. I was working extremely hard. And it was like heartache after heartache after heartache. And I was like, I gotta take care of myself. So basically the depression happened was, one, my business got attacked because a Caucasian troll started to attack my business. We talked about the whole lawsuit thing. I actually have a playlist on my YouTube channel, said how to sue a YouTuber and win. So I end up suing him for $1 million. And after the attack on my business and my brand, after that happened, then my daughter's mom moved to California.
Okay.
And my daughter is the air that I breathe. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I am the man that I am today is because of my daughter. Like, that's why I get up, go get it, and come back with it. And I hustle like I do is because of her. Because before she came into my life, I just used to make a whole bunch of excuses, like a whole bunch of dudes that be on YouTube, staying with their mama, jacking off all day, playing video games, not doing nothing with their life. And so, but when I got my daughter, that's what really helped me. Like, okay, like you really got to stop playing around and make stuff happen. So my relationship with my daughter is very important to me. So her mother moved to California, and I was like, I'm not moving to California, because I was in New Orleans with my daughter. And then I moved, then her mom moved to Atlanta. So I was like, okay, let me come back home to Atlanta. And then when her mom moved to California, I said, I ain't going to California. I'm not doing all that. But it really hurt my heart because, like I said, so while I was in New Orleans, I ended up meeting some fine young tender thing. Remember you was talking about, man, what happened to that fine chick?
Yeah, because you about to get married to her, right?
I proposed. We were going to be married. But like Drake said, now, pick your ring until I get a wedding ring. But we weren't engaged to be married. I did a real big time proposal. It was on Christmas. You know, it went semi-viral. In the community, it went viral. You know what I'm saying? Because she was 20 years old, fine young tender thing, New Orleans, Southern Belle, and all the other stuff. But we ended up breaking up because, being 100% honest, like I said, I've never talked about this publicly. I've always talked about it privately. My mentor has like the ideal life in my mind. It's very similar to like what happened with Dr. Dre and his wife. Mm-hmm. You know, Dr. Dre was in a bad marriage. Then he married up the attorney that he married, and she was younger than him, and they had these beautiful kids. And she's an exotic chick, exotic red bone. Very similar. My mentor is very similar to that. My mentor had a really bad marriage. Then he married this beautiful young. She wasn't exotic, but she was what's that word? She's like a bohemian. I don't know how to describe it. Like not an earthy chick, like an Erykah Badu mixed with Jill Scott mixed with but she was just younger, right. Beautiful, vibrant, vivacious. And so me at the time, I was 30. I just turned 39. So at the time I was 36, turning 37. And the fiance, she was 22. So it was a big age gap. And so we started to have some conflicts, and I started to feel some type of way. I started to feel like maybe she was with me just because of my money and my lifestyle, not necessarily she was into me for me. And so I told her that I wanted to slow down because I had gotten this huge rock, O'Shea. You saw it. I gave her this huge rock. And I proposed in front of her whole family on Christmas, and my daughter was there and all this other stuff. But I actually had the wedding paid for too. The wedding was paid for. We were getting married in Hawaii on the beach. And I just felt really uncomfortable. I was like, you know what, let's just slow down. And also we was trying to have a baby too. We was trying to get pregnant at the same time. I was like, let's just slow down. So my mentor, he was like, ask her to slow down. And if she's there for you, she will stay. If she's not there for you, she's gonna wanna flip and leave. And guess what happened? She flipped and left. Mm-hmm. She was like, well, I'm not gonna stay around for you to keep me waiting, this, that, and the third. I wanna, I'm going back home, this, that, and the third, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna beg you to stay, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. We don't chase them, we replace them. You remember Biggie said that? Mm-hmm. we don't chase them, we replace them. So from there, so it's like happened like boom, 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 like everything literally happened within weeks of each other. You know what I'm saying? Within weeks of each other, like boom, boom, boom. So I had a client in the Dominican Republic. Like I said, I'm a business coach and a life coach, and I do coaching. And I had a client that lived in the North Coast, and I came out, spent some time with him, and then I came back, and I said to myself, why am I coming back? Like I work virtually. 99.9% of all of my coaching and my consultation is all online. And I was like, I need a vacation, I need a break, because being in the travel community, so in the travel community, I'm a regular guy. I'm not a business coach, I'm not a life coach. When people try to talk to me about that stuff, I'm like, dog, we chilling, we vibing. And so I've been in the travel community for a few years because I like to travel and I like to go, exotic places. And so, but for the year of 2018, I didn't go nowhere because so much was going on. Mm-hmm. And so I said, you know what, forget it. Let me just leave. So I called up everybody. I said, you know what, everything is going online, everything is going virtual, and I'm moving to the Dominican Republic. And that's what got me over to the North Coast, where you saw my condo on the ocean and all that good stuff. So I just looked at everything and put everything on paper, and it just made sense because the cost of living here is so much cheaper than the cost of living in the US, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a third world country, even though the women are absolutely drop dead gorgeous and beautiful, and the ocean is beautiful, the beaches are amazing. This is still considered a third world country. So the cost of living is really, really cheap. Really, really cheap.
I know you got a nice place there. I mean, let's talk about if it's cost of living, because a lot of guys are going to want to know that before we get more into the interview. But how much money were you spending, when you were living in the last city, I believe you were you in Atlanta or New Orleans, right?
I was in Atlanta.
How much you paying the rent per month in Atlanta? Or
Mortgage, like I said, I had a $700,000 house.
Okay.
What
was the mortgage?
I was spending about $9,000 a month just on living expenses. It's about $9,000 a month just on living expenses.
Living expenses. How much when you came to the Dominican Republic? How much would you spend it in?
Well, because of where I lived and the type of condo that I had and the type of everything that I had, I was spending around $2,500.
Wow! So you reduced $6,500.
Yeah, $6,500 a month.
Now, with that additional $6,500, what were you able to do with that money?
Well, stacking it. You know what I mean? Stacking it, you reinvest and do other things, and that's actually why I ended up getting my restaurant, because like I did a vlog on my YouTube channel, and I was talking about how the pressure started to kind of creep up again because of COVID, because there was so much stuff that I was not able to do, you know what I mean? And I had clients, and clients would tell me, Dean, you can't start a business. It's COVID-19, you can't start a business. It's a pandemic and an epidemic. I was like, yes, you can. And they was like, no, you can't. And I said, okay, I can show you better than I can tell you. So I ended up getting the restaurant overlooking the ocean, and I flipped it because it was dilapidated, it was broke down. People talked a good game about what they wanted to do, what they could have did, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But at the time when I knew about the restaurant, it was vacant for 3 years and it was dilapidated really, really bad. So when the opportunity presented itself, I jumped on it because I was like, I need something to do because I'm going stir crazy up here. I can't do nothing. It's just like, so I reinvested into a few things. On top of the fact that but to be very candid with you, I did not use the money that I saved up to get my restaurant. I used business credit. So basically everything that I teach my clients on how to start a business, how to get business funding, and how to use other people's money and get business loans, that's what I did in order to build my restaurant. That's how come Trolls was like, you're gonna fail, you're stupid, why would you start a restaurant so far away from the action? All this blah, 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 blah. Well, you saw how the restaurant was tonight, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Even after we got quote unquote swatted by some trolls or some haters, and we're gonna talk about that later on. But you saw how the restaurant was tonight, right?
It looked good, yeah.
We had a phenomenal time. But nevertheless, but what I was explaining, but even though trolls was like, oh, you're not gonna be successful, you're gonna what happens if they shut down? And I was like, well, I have something called working capital. And I have a business loans. So that means that it's gonna cover everything while we do what we need to do and get everything done. Because people kept saying, when the restaurant gonna open, when the restaurant gonna open? And I did a real complete rehab renovation to the point to where it's like completely new, to where everybody walk in, their eyes get big and their jaws drop, because we touched every little surface of that place, made everything new. The only thing that was reused was the concrete studs that was in the place. Everything had been redone.
Let me ask you this, because I know your brother, you're the CEO. Your brother moved to Dominican Republic. Now, how long has he been living there?
My brother has been here, bro. How long you been here? 4 months now? It's been 7 months. It has not been 7 months. 6 months. That's right, because Esmeralda, my older sister, and I fired Esmeralda. God dang, 7 months.
7 months. Okay, so your brother's been there for 7 months, and you and your brother are running the restaurant. Now, what have been some of the challenges in obviously getting the business started and dealing? I mean, obviously you living in a community where there are other African-American male there, other people from the States there. What's been the challenges of starting a business and living amongst the local community and also the expat community in the Dominican Republic?
Okay, so the local community is the gringo effect. So not every, but a lot of Dominicans, they see gringos and they try to take advantage of us. The reason how come most businesses fail because somebody might get a harebrained idea and say, hey, you know what? I want to go to the Dominican Republic, or I want to go to Jamaica, I want to go to Haiti, or I want to go to Puerto Rico, and I want to start a business. But they don't have business acumen about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, in a lot of these areas that are tourist areas and island areas, people tend to take advantage of Americans and they double and triple charge us. But if you're not used to business and you don't have a business acumen,
Mm-hmm.
then they're gonna wipe you clean.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried that with me. Now, one thing on my side is the fact that I've been in finance ever since I was 18. And so, like I said, at the time, like right now, I'm 39. So it's been over 21 years. And like I said, I'm a business coach and a life coach. I have over 1,000 clients that have accumulated over 100,000 each in business funding. So that being said, I got a new name when I moved out here. They call me mafioso. They call me mafioso, and mafioso means that you are strict about your money, like you are all about your money, like you're very like they call tigre when it comes to finances or whatever. So my nickname is mafioso in the community because of the fact that I would not let nobody take advantage of me. Now my Spanish is 10 times. My Spanish is 10 times better than it was when I first moved here. And I spoke a little bit of Spanish. So one of the key things that helped me was getting an assistant that was bilingual, Carlos. Well, actually, Esmeralda was my first assistant, and that situation didn't work out. Then I ended up getting Carlos, and he's been a very successful assistant. He's been a very good help. But one of the biggest cheat codes I'm gonna tell anybody, you got to get somebody that is a local, and you have to get somebody that's trustworthy, that you can trust, because you're going to have to send them in to do business for you so that they don't see you as a gringo and double and triple the price. So that's been one of the biggest issues is keep it to a budget, because just because you got it don't mean you have to spend it. And that's one of the biggest things that in the island culture, they used to people coming out here overpaying for everything. They're overpaying for the women, they're overpaying for the drinks, they're overpaying for the cigars, they're overpaying for everything. Because when gringos come here or Americans come here and fellas come here, we on vacation, we happy, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is you want, we spinning bottles, we popping bottles, you know what I'm saying? Spending time with the girls, they ask for it, we give it to them. So they're used to that, seeing a gringo like that. But when you are in a business mode and you're like, no, I'm not spending that. Let's negotiate the price. Let's get down. That's how that's literally how I got the nickname mafioso. Because they was like, they say you're not easy. I said, no, I'm not easy. I don't do this for play. I do this for pay. I'm trying to do this for real. So that being said, that's been the biggest issue up until recently. So the next issue is actually a mixture, because it's jealousy. Unfortunately, even though we call the United States the Matrix. So in the travel community, we call the US the Matrix. And unfortunately, you will have people outside the Matrix with the same Matrix mindset. They're jealous and they backbite. They make videos about you. They'll call the cops on your successful restaurant. They'll swat you. They'll do all of those things to try to make you, they do all those things to try to make themselves feel better by trying to pull somebody else down. Once people have a scarcity mindset, because this is the other thing. A lot of, like you said, I was like, no, and this is the thing too, O'Shea. Ever since you've known me, niggas hate me. They say you arrogant. They say like I come from nothing. Though you dig what I'm saying? Like I worked hard to get what I have, and I'm not ashamed of it. And so niggas don't like me. People don't like me. They don't. I know that's not true. I'm a polarizing figure. Either you love me or you hate me. People that are ambitious, that work hard, they get out, go get it, and they come back with it, and they have a mindset of abundance. They like me because we cut from the same cloth, like me and you cut from the same cloth.
Yeah,
you know
yeah. I don't have no problem with you. I've been dealing with niggas like you all my life, so you don't bother me. Yeah.
But then you have these people that have that mindset of scarcity. They trying to get everything they can and can everything they get. They think they're gonna run out. They think they can't do nothing. They think if somebody else does better, it means that they do worse. Those type of people that have that negative mindset, those type of people are irritated, because they were like, who you think you is? Why you think you can do this, that, and the third? So I said all of that to say this. Unfortunately, a lot of the guys that do come here to the Dominican Republic that are not 50 and older, they come here because they broke. And because the cost of living is so cheap that they can live a comfortable lifestyle. Like you can get an apartment for $200. You're gonna be living with Dominicans, and you're gonna have to, throw your feces out of the backyard. But you can have a nice 3-bedroom apartment and actually look real nice for $200 a month. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But $200 per month,
mm-hmm.
which happens to be around at the time 8 plus 8, 16. So it's around 16,000 or 18,000 pesos is what it roughly boils down to. Around 16 to 18,000 pesos.
Okay.
Is basically what the average, 2 or 3-bedroom apartment is. So if you coming from someplace like New York or New Jersey, or you come someplace from like Chicago or Detroit or someplace like that where the rents are high,
mm-hmm.
you move to the Dominican Republic. And a lot of these dudes living in their mama's basement, or staying on their baby mama couch. They ain't got a pot to piss in or one to throw it out of, but when they come here,
mm-hmm.
they're able to, live comfortably. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, because of that type of mindset is here. And I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Because when I moved here, I moved because I was depressed. I wanted to get away. I love the ocean. Like, I got the water tattooed all on me. Like, mm-hmm. I love the water. I came here for that. I didn't come for the women. I didn't know about the women until I got here. I didn't know about that mindset either. Like, I didn't know what a monger was until I came here. Like, what's a monger? And then I had to learn that it's still a whoremonger. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't understand that. Like, because there's 2 types of the travel community. You have like Bo, who's a good friend of mine, and shout out to Bo Rakes.
Bo, I like him. Definitely like him.
Yeah, Bo is a trill nigga. Bo is definitely
mm-hmm.
trill.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what trill is, it's a colloquialism meaning true and real. mm-hmm. for the people that's watching. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so one of the things Bo talks about is a sex pack and an X pack. So bigger. And I didn't know, and that's something that I got thrown into because I didn't know, a lot about that. Being new to being an expat, because I would always travel, and to be honest, a lot of times when I was traveling with a chick. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been pulling bad chicks ever since I turned 21. Mm-hmm. That's when I came into myself. I turned 21, and I've been with a dime ever since. So a lot of times I would fly chicks out, I would go out, I would do everything. I would never travel for women. But it wasn't until being an expat and being single that I learned about the mongering and traveling for women and dating women in different countries. I didn't know about that until after I had already became an expat. So I said all of that to say that the problems that I have gotten from the brothers in the expat community, not all of them, but unfortunately a lot of them, not all of them. But unfortunately, a good amount of them have that scarcity mindset.
What would you say? What's the percentage of the guys that you would say have this?
25%. 25% are real good trill dudes that are retired, that are ambitious. They love the world. They want to travel the world. Mm-hmm. They are into empowerment. Then the other 75% have that matrix mindset.
Okay, so the guys that are trying to complain, that are sitting there trying to get away from the matrix mindset, they end up coming to the DR and displaying that.
Or Colombia,
or Brazil. Oh, yeah.
Or Thailand.
Yeah, I heard it's real big there. Let me kind of talk about this because before we get into the hater that called into, that dropped the dime on the restaurant. But you said also there's been some challenges in getting good help. And I've talked to you about, because we talked quite a bit when I was in Uganda. We talked to it a bit, and what you said is true. Getting local help, people that can speak the language and get you into the culture where you cannot get it because obviously you're a foreigner. How do you find people that you can trust? That because obviously you can't go to like Craigslist, something like that. Yeah. How do you find good, dependable people that can help you with the business and help you do things?
That's a very good question. So to be candid with you, because like you talked about, I have over 20 people on my staff right now that I've been able to hire in the community. But it started out with referrals, mm-hmm. and then you have to be quick to fire. Be very quick to fire somebody. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. You have to go through reputable people like attorneys. Like I found Carlos by going through someone that I trusted and knew and looked at their track record. So the same way you look at somebody's track record in the United States. Just because you're in a different country, that doesn't change. Like there's the number one, I would say, the number one resort on the North Coast is called Lifestyle. And so because I was wise enough to build during a pandemic, and because I had the courage to build during a pandemic, Lifestyle had laid off over 60% of their staff.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yes, they laid off over 60% of their staff. So I was able to get the cream of the crop, the best of the pickings, because it wasn't no jobs around.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the news article the news report that came out about the cops swatting the place, one of the things the journalist was saying is that this is a entrepreneur coming from the US that's investing during the pandemic. And for him to be treated the way that he was, it's very dangerous to the economy of Puerto Plata. Mm-hmm. And that stuck out to me, and it took me back to that, to the mindset of, like I said, like so many people lost their jobs during COVID. So many people lost their job during C-19. And so that is the prime, like, unfortunately, we're talking about business. We're not talking about feelings. We're just talking about facts. Whenever there is a pandemic, whenever there is hardship, whenever there is war, whenever there is setbacks, is always the best business opportunities. Mm-hmm. And so that having that mindset, I was able to basically get everything for a steal. I got my condo for a steal. I got my house, the villa that I'm in right now, I got for a steal. The restaurant I got for a steal. The help that I got for a steal. All because I was bold enough to take advantage of an opportunity, not doing it as in a negative way of trying to take advantage of people, but it's just a very smart way. Like, why would I overpay if I don't have to?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm. So let me kind of get to the some of the challenges that because I know there are a few guys that have. I heard there's one brother that has a place called the Envy. I don't know. Heard it's pretty good there too. Also, so a lot of black men are in the DR doing fairly well. Tailor-made dreams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he has some situations going on pretty good there. He's been thriving there since he's been there. What have been some of the challenges running a restaurant that you've been, obviously is new. What have been some of the challenges that you had with running the restaurant and and keeping it up to par? What have been some of the challenges for you there?
The biggest challenges, like I mentioned, has been when it comes to the help, when it comes to the renovating aspect of things, like having to negotiate, having to make people do what they say they're going to do because of the Caribbean mindset, and just having to negotiate price, because it's a term down here called tranquilo, where everything is tranquilo or tranqui, which means it's just chill and it's cool. It's like, no, bro, it ain't chill or cool. I done gave you 25%. You need to come and put in my windows. You need to come and put in these floors. You know what I'm saying? You need to come do this electrical work. You need to do this paint. You need to do what I paid you to do. And so that has been the biggest hurdle has been just negotiating, navigating that. But like I said, when I got the cheat code of hiring a good assistant that could translate for me, as well as learning from people. Now, one thing I will say is, remember we talked about that 25% of trill dudes and real dudes? Mm-hmm. Mike and Breon, the owners of Envy, are some of the trillest dudes that I know. The owners of Envy have really helped my brother and I. They come into the restaurant tomorrow to show some love, and they've helped out a lot. And it's so funny because it's like the people that are at the top, they want to see other people at the top. They're not trying to keep people down. They're like, come to the top with us. So they gave me a tremendous amount of game. So, I mean, there's nothing that anybody can ever say bad around me about Michael Brio. I am a fighter. You dig what I'm saying? Because they helped me learn the game of negotiating out here tremendously. You dig? So they have the largest restaurant. They have the largest resort. They have the largest facilities in the North Coast. And then after them is Ray from Roomba. Ray is a good guy as well. He gave us some game. He's given us some breadcrumbs. He's actually helped. He's somebody that I bounce ideas off a lot. And he's actually Guyana. I think he's from Guyana. I think he's not Guyanese. He's oh man, where is he from? No, he's not the UK. He's from an island with the UK with the British. He's from
Trinidad or
no, not Trinidad. It's close to Trinidad. It's
Dominica.
Not Dominica.
Jamaica.
They say Man, the dude just had the jerk chicken at our restaurant was from the same place. Guyana. Not Guyanese, but from Guyana. And so he is out here doing his thing. He has the second largest restaurant, and then it's us. We have the third largest restaurant. But so they've helped out a lot. But from the Black community, just a whole bunch of naysayers. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of people that's mealy mouthed and people that failed and they expect other people to fail. Like I ran into one dude and he was like, man, I gotta say this to your face because I've been saying it behind your back for months. Like, you're a bold dude. I wouldn't have did what you did. You know what I'm saying? And he was talking bad about me because unfortunately his business failed. And he was like, oh, you're gonna fail too. You're gonna do this and the third. You don't know about Dominicans. You don't know this and the third. But they don't, like I said, a lot of times this is their first business venture. And the thing that people need to understand about business is it don't matter what business you do as your first business, you're gonna fail 99.9% of the time. You're not gonna be an expert when you first get it right. Like my first business, when I first got into business, I was 22 years old. And that business did not go well. That business failed. And I learned, but because I fell in love with entrepreneurship and I fell in love with myself and I had the soul of a free man. I said, I can't work for nobody else. You know what I mean? The only time after that, becoming 22, that I worked for somebody else was when I got my daughter. When I had my daughter, I realized that I couldn't be a lazy entrepreneur. Like I really had to get it together because it was either gonna be working corporate America, which I hated, or really get on my P's and Q's when it came to this business thing, you dig? So that's what I end up doing. But I said all of that to say that unfortunately, the 75% of people who failed at something, they never try again. And they expect for you to fail. And when they see you succeeding and winning, they think you cheating, they think you stealing, they think you're doing something wrong. They want to pull up negative things and talk negativity about you. But you know, at the end of the day, it takes a lot to be, you got to have a lot, you got to be really good with your main player, which is yourself on your team. The number one person on your team is yourself. You got to have a really good relationship with yourself to be a good entrepreneur. You know this, all the hate that you get. You dig what I'm saying? So that being said, as long as you have that good relationship, you have to have a good relationship with yourself, so much so to where people will call you conceited. They'll call you cocky. They'll call you arrogant because they don't know the stuff that you went through. Like it's like if a man that's been starving for 3 weeks and he's eating and he's swallowing, eating everything, if you just see him for the first day, you're gonna think, oh, he's greedy and he's gluttonous. But you don't realize that for 3 weeks he just starved. And so what happens is that people will meet you in the time frame of life, not knowing what you've gone through and not knowing what you've come from, and they'll judge you based on that split-second moment. And unfortunately, that happens a lot, whether you are an expat, whether you are in the US, unfortunately, in the African-American community, that's something that we do amongst our culture, which is very difficult.
Let's talk about this, this incident, man, that happened on Super Bowl. You're opening your restaurant and it's, very nice. And you see somebody called the police on your restaurant.
Yeah, so basically what happened is this. In the Dominican Republic, there's something that's called toque de queda, which is basically a curfew. So like I said, we're a third world country. So we are under military control, basically. And restaurants have a leeway to be open past a little longer than bars can. So on Sundays, bars have to close directly at 5 o'clock. No ifs, ands, or buts at 5 o'clock.
PM or AM?
PM, 5 o'clock PM.
Okay.
So bars and clubs have to close at 5 o'clock PM. No ifs, ands, or buts. Now we are above a bar. The number one bar and club in Puerto Plata is called the Miami Bar. And so my restaurant is above Miami Bar overlooking the ocean. So Miami Bar closes, and according to the toque de queda, the restaurants are able to stay open for delivery, and they're able to stay open so patrons can pay their tab, pay their bill, and leave. So unfortunately, there was some patrons that was at the restaurant that got upset and ended up calling the cops because they said this club is open past the curfew. And so we basically got swatted. So when 5 o'clock came as a restaurant, you're supposed to close your front door. And after you close your front door, you're supposed to lock your doors. And then everyone is supposed to go through your either the takeout area, or they're supposed to take their food to go. Mm-hmm. And so on our opening day, we probably had over 100 and some odd people that came to our restaurant. Now, our restaurant could hold 140 people to capacity. Mm-hmm. 140 people, like I said, it's the third largest. It can hold 140 people. At the time when the Toca de Queda happened, we closed our front door. So we actually had our security up front. We had a closed side. We turned off an open side. We had a chain on the stairs that lead up to the rooftop lounge and restaurant. And we closed the front doors. You locked the doors. And I made an announcement to everybody. I said, okay, everybody, we have 30 minutes. It's time for you to pay your tabs. We got to leave for Toca de Queda. 5 minutes later, we got swatted. They pulled up with a paddy wagon. They pulled up 10 or 15 police officers deep and a colonel. And so they came and they were outside. They could not get in. If anybody's watching this video and you were there, be honest and tell the truth in the comments. They were outside because they were locked outside. Because in my restaurant, it's a full window of glass because everything is open. It's like a loft style. So they were outside, and everybody was like, what's going on? Everybody was trying to figure out what's going on. And so unfortunately, when the police came, they had a preconceived notion that we were a club, not a restaurant. We have the documentation to show that our capacity is 140. We have the documentation to show that we're a restaurant. We have the documentation to show everything. But when the cops came, they weren't trying to hear that. Now, my brother was doing the front of the house and working with the hookah. Oh, and we have documentation to prove that we're able to have hookah legally. And so that's been one of the biggest veins of contention with other Black expat entrepreneurs, is that they are jealous of us having hookah. They're trying to figure out how we're able to have hookah like we do. And so we have all that documentation. Attorneys have given all of that. We have everything in the offices. We have everything right by the cash register. But when the cops came, they weren't trying to hear that at all. They weren't looking at no documentation. They was like, you going to jail, you going to jail, you're going to jail. And so I was, like I said, I was in the kitchen making sure the food came out right, because the passion of the restaurant it comes from my brother and our grandmother who taught us how to cook. So like all the recipes, everything is an adaptation of my recipes that I developed with my grandmother. So I'm in the back of the house, making sure the food is right, making sure that the food tastes great, making sure that the food looks great, making sure everything is to Atlanta standards, not Dominican standards. And my brother was in the front of the house taking care of the hookah, making sure that he's over the camareras or the waitresses, making sure the waitresses are together. And so my assistant runs to the back in the kitchen, is like, boss, we got a problem with the cops. So I go to the front of the house, and I'm like, what's going on? So I go outside. Bro, did you go outside? Or was you inside? Or was it just me and Carlos outside?
It was you and Carlos outside. I was standing there.
You were standing at the door. So Carlos and I go outside, my assistant, because my assistant is bilingual, and we had our mask on and everything. And the cops was like, what's going on here? He said, who's the owner? And so my assistant, Carlos, says, why are you bothering us? We are a restaurant. He's the owner. And the colonel flipped out, and he was like about to fight Carlos, because he was like, do you know who I am? I'm the colonel and this, that, and the third. And I was like, señor, tranquilo, no, yo quiero no problema contigo. Tranquilo, so yo soy el restaurante, tiene no problema, no discoteca. And so basically what I was saying is that I don't want any problems with you. We are a restaurant. We're not a disco. We're not a club. I said, all of these people are getting their food to go. They're getting their food to go. And so that's the reason why my assistant was arrested, because the colonel had a main issue with him. So we opened up the doors and he was like, you're going to jail. So I was like, okay. I was like, bro, here, come get my wallet, come get my phone, it is what it is. Because originally I was going to be the only one going to jail as the owner of the restaurant, and everybody else was going to go. I was like, okay, cool, let's go. I'm ready to go. And so then the colonel says no, and then he walks off. And then he started pacing the place. Now, one of the things about the Dominican Republic is the police officers, they always want a propina. You dig what I'm saying? A cop pull you over, you a gringo, they just want a tip. Because most of the time, Police officers might make $100 a month. They might make 8,000 pesos. They might make 4,000 pesos on the first and 15,000 pesos on the 15th, which is around $120 if you're a real high-ranking cop. So you know what I'm saying? You always pay to play. I pay my, like Frank Lucas say, well, not Frank Lucas, but the cop that ran up on Frank Lucas in American Gangster, he was like, Frank, you pay your bills? So when it comes to the politics and the cops and everything, I always pay my bills. So I went to go and try to pay my bill. You know what I'm saying? I tried to shake some money in his hand. I was like, Senor, I said, Jefe, no, yo no quiero no problema. And then he would look down at my hand and he was like, no. He said, no, if you give me that, it's gonna be more problems. So I was like, at this point, I said, okay, this nigga's on some other stuff. And so he was so, like, the police were so wrong that they even took a pilot to jail who has a pass to be out past the curfew. So at the restaurant, we had a pilot that provides a lot of the distribution for restaurants in the community, like all of the community of the entrepreneurs. They do a lot of import and exports. He's one of the top exporters. And in the Toca Decatur, if you are an entrepreneur and a business owner, you can get a pass from the government to be out past curfew. Because remember, if you own a restaurant and you close a restaurant, you got to go home. And if you're delivering goods or services and it's past curfew, you're able to leave. They even took him to jail. So they violated everybody. So it's so frustrating to me. Like, people's like, oh, Dean, you know, you act like, you know, it wasn't no big deal. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, I got violated just like everybody else got violated. I didn't do nothing wrong. Like, I did everything that the Department of Health told me to do. But because somebody swatted us, they swatted me, the people came thinking we were, like, even on the police report, O'Shea, the police report says the Club Miami, people were at Club Miami, 27 people at Club Miami got arrested for violating social distancing and not violating the curfew. But we're not Club Miami, we're Atlanta Lights, completely different restaurant. We are 3 times the size of Club Miami, by the way. We're 3 times the size of Club Miami. And like I said, we're able to have a capacity of 140 people, but it was only 27 people there. And it was actually a little more than 27 people because of the staff, but at the same time, the capacity is 140. To be technical, on the inside of the restaurant, it's 60 people. On the outside, it's 98, something along those lines. I'm tired, you know, we done had a long day. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, like, my attorneys jumped all over this because they did everything wrong. Like, the cops, they did everything wrong. And unfortunately, everybody's blaming me because it happened at my spot. And I'm sorry that it happened, but it happened to me just like it happened to you. So no, I didn't spend the night in jail, but I went and I paid everybody's bond. I tried to pay everybody's bond that night. They wouldn't let me pay the bond that night. The dude was trying to prove a point. He was like, no, I think he just wanted to let me know and let everybody else know that he was a big swinging dick in the community or something. And so it was very frustrating because not only did I try to pay the bill that night after everything happened, I still went back out again because a cop ended up telling one of the patriots who had their phone that if I came right now that they would let us out. And we came right then and there, and they just was kind of playing games. Like, so to clear it up even more, in order to be at home, you have to be at home at 8 a.m. Nobody's supposed to be out of their house at 8 p.m. Nobody's supposed to be out of their house at 8 p.m. on Sunday. It was still light outside, O'Shea, when the cops came. The curfew was at 5, the cops came at 6:15. Restaurants are able to be open for delivery up until 7:30 and 11 o'clock, depending on what type of restaurant you have. And so they just violated everything all the way around. But, you know, unfortunately, people, you know, the peanut gallery, they want to say, oh, it's Dean's fault. And like, I got violated too. You know, I got ran up on too. And then stupid rumors, people talking about I made people pay their tab. I didn't make people pay their tab. Like I said, I was in the kitchen. And then I went from the kitchen to the front dealing with the cops. Now, the same person that's causing a lot of the big rift in the community, he's saying things like I made him pay his tab and all this other stuff. He also said that he was trying to pay for over an hour so he could leave. So the reason why the waitress paid his tab and closed him out because he had been trying to pay his tab. for an hour. Like he says it, like I was trying to pay my tab for over an hour so I could leave. Then he turns around and say, "Oh, D made me pay my tab." You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand people are upset and frustrated, but don't try to kick me when I'm down. My spot got raided. 27 people left my restaurant, didn't even pay me. People were buying bottles, they was buying food. Like all of that money is gone. And on top of all of that money being gone, then like I said, I paid to have all 27 people taken out of jail. I paid to get people's motorcycles back out that got impounded. Like I paid for all of that. Not to be like a big Willie thing, because I felt bad that it happened, you know what I'm saying? But people like, "Oh, D, you don't have no empathy." Like, I'm not gonna cry because that's what a hater wants me to do. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, what was me? I feel bad," because that means the hater won. I'm gonna get up and keep going, and that's what I'm doing, and that's the reason why our restaurant is still popping like it is. So if I don't express grief the way that you want to feel it, I apologize for you. I feel bad. I show up to make sure that everything is together and everything is right. But I'm not no bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna cry and crumble over and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." That ain't me. I was raised by men. I wasn't raised by women. You know what I'm saying? I was raised by my uncles. I wasn't raised by no woman. I don't know how to do that type of stuff. I know how to man up. You dig what I'm saying? Like, man up. You know, I'm sorry that you was in jail, but nigga, man up. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out. So what you gonna do to fix it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have people around me that have pity parties. Now, if that seems to be empathetic to some people, not empathetic, that's probably the reason why they don't have what successful people have. Because there's a switch you have to have in your mind to be like, you just got to get it done. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. As far as the opportunities, you come from the States, just like myself, and you look at like some place like the Dominican Republic. Obviously, it's there's probably more money in Atlanta than the whole DR, right? Just in Atlanta by itself, probably. Do you think
yes or no
opportunity for what you do in the Dominican Republic as far as entrepreneurship? It's a different language and things like that, or do you think that for a lot of that the opportunity is still in America, or now even Black America? The Jackson, Mississippi's of the world, the Atlantas, the Detroits, the Charlottes. What do you think about that?
That's a very good question. So if you're able to service people and give the people what they need, there's always an opportunity as an entrepreneur. If you can figure out how to solve somebody's problem, and you can figure out how to make something easier, make something better, then there's always an opportunity as an entrepreneur. However, the risk is higher in the US because, like I said, I got my restaurant for a steal. Like, that's the reason why I get so frustrated and pissed off. And it's not just people in Sasuba, it's also people in Port Plata. Like, I found out that this really nice popping night spot that I thought was really dope, the owner was jealous that I got my spot. I found out there was actually several business owners that was jealous of the spot that I got because they looked at it and they saw it was too risky. And they was thinking, "Oh, it's too risky, I don't want to do it." But then after I do it and after I put my take on it and I step out, then it's all, "Man, you stole my idea," or, "Oh man, you know what, I was gonna do that," or, "I thought I could do that," or, "How were you able to do that?" Because I wasn't able to figure it out. And it's not just coming from one person. I don't want somebody to think that I'm holding a vendetta against one person. That actually, I found out that's come from 3 or 4 other entrepreneurs, Dominican and American. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that because the spot is that beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's that rare of a gem. You know what I'm saying? But people with a defeated mindset and people with fear, they let fear motivate them instead of faith motivate them. But so nevertheless, I said all of that to say that I did it as a calculated risk in the DR because I'm like, the cost of living is so cheap, the cost of property is so cheap, the cost of labor is so cheap. I can try this, and if it fails, it won't bankrupt. If it fails, it won't ruin me. Whereas in the US, if it fails, that's you know what I'm saying. You through dealing. You know what I'm saying. That's the reason why Donald Trump filed bankruptcy so many times because he tried so many businesses and failed. You dig what I'm saying? But I ain't got that Donald Trump money. You dig what I'm saying? I don't have Donald Trump connections. So because of the huge leverage of the US dollar to the Dominican peso, and because of the major opportunity that I saw because of COVID and because of the pandemic, it gave me the courage to be like, okay, worst case scenario, it don't work. I can cut my losses, and I ain't lost out on millions, just a few $100,000. and I'll be okay. You dig what I'm saying? Especially when you're using other businesses, other people's money, meaning the bank's money, and you're using investments and that type of thing. So that's what made me. I did a calculated risk. You dig what I'm saying? It's like the trading the stock market. It's not gambling, it's a calculated risk. You know what I'm saying? So I did it as a calculated risk, and I thank God that I was right.
All right. So I know you have the YouTube channel. Tell people, man, if they were to come and subscribe to your channel, what kind of content, are they going to see on the E. Dean Cole's channel?
Well, lately it's been a lot of travel vlogs. Like this is a cigar from my line that I was puffing on. Like, you see, like, not only did actually it's 3 businesses here that I started. Like, I started the call center, I started the restaurant, and I also have my own cigar line that I got directly from the factory. So it's been just my journey of that. It's been lately, but a lot of my old videos, I'm teaching how I do what I'm doing now. Like, one of my clients today was like, Dean, you really practice what you preach. Like, you really got, like you said in the beginning, I haven't made many videos lately because I've been actually implementing the things that I do. But you've been talking to me and you've been encouraging me about starting making videos again. So I'm about to start back going live more and doing more teaching. But on my channel right now, it's just been a lot of travel vlogs about what it's like living in the Dominican Republic, dating Dominican women, amazing Latin women.
Yeah.
Dating them.
I said, and also, the WhatsApp be popping.
Say that again now.
The WhatsApp be popping.
WhatsApp be popping, bro. Instagram be popping. Tinder be popping, you know what I'm saying? Facebook be popping. If you can get that cheat code and really start dealing with women outside of the matrix, outside the US, change your life. You're not gonna never be the same. I don't feel like I can date an American woman ever again. Okay. I can never be with an American woman again.
Okay. So ladies in America, sorry. All right. So thank you so much, man, for coming on, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It's my first Zoom interview, so we're gonna see how it turns out. But it looks like it's better than StreamYard from what I can see, and really enjoyed you coming over here, guys. And always remember, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.